eat that. That's yucky. Hello, and welcome to this book review. I just wanted to start this video that if you are in the UK and you are watching this, if you change your VPN, you will be able to watch my other two videos on the person I'm doing this book review on. So I just wanted to continue part 2 of this book review. And I decided to keep specific names and images out of this video in hopes that this video won't be removed in the UK for discriminatory, discriminatory. That's not the word I'm looking for. I'm looking for the word defamatory. So it's been blocked in that part or region of the world, but everywhere else you can still see my videos. So just to keep it, copacetic and a little less confrontational, I've just decided to leave the images of the book and the author herself out of this specific video. So let's just dive right in, now that I've gotten that out and made that pretty clear. Okay, so let's just start by reading another passage from this harmful book. And I quote, "To turn a cryptic pregnancy or a hidden pregnancy into a normal pregnancy, i.e. your cycle stops and your pregnancy tests are positive, takes a huge amount of life force or chi." End quote. Aside from the fact that no one can increase their life force or spirit so much so that it makes a pregnancy real or a baby real, even with all the energy work in the world. You could do this for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you're not going to all of a sudden manifest a baby into your womb with energy work. What if the reader's pregnancy tests never turn normal or they never turn positive? They are left thinking something is wrong with their divinity, spirituality, physicality, and mentality. How does the reader know they have attained enough life force if their tests continue to stay negative and they continue to stay pregnant? The information included in this cruel, so misleading and harmful book, I truly hope majorities stay away from it, because it doesn't help anybody. It's just made up information. And unfortunately, because there's so many women looking for this information, they could come across this dangerous book. And that's why I'm making this video, hoping that these women will continue to research, and through that research they'll come across this video, which will help them to decipher the truth from lies, the lies that this book presents. The writer of this garbage book regurgitates, and I quote, "Don't blame it for the stress a cryptic pregnancy creates, as it's not the cryptic pregnancy baby's fault. It is the fault of the medical cartel alone." End quote. There is absolutely no proof a medical cartel, as the writer suggests. There's no evidence to support any of this. Does the medical field know everything, and are they the end-all be-all in health? No. My personal opinion, no, they are not the end-all in health. Do medical professionals make money from the services they provide and the prescriptions they write? Yes. Yes, they do. But this is very, very, very far from a cartel in the sense that they are purposefully and maliciously keeping medical conditions away from public knowledge. Modern medicine is not in the business of keeping diagnosable conditions hidden from the public. Insurance companies aren't in the business of hiding diagnosable and billable conditions a secret. They aren't in the business of keeping any of these things a secret. As I said, most doctors want to make money. And I've said this in many, many videos time and time again. And a condition such as a pregnancy of years with a slow-growing baby or a non-growing baby would be a cash cow. Constant ultrasounds, constant monitoring, constant checkups, constant labs, constant blood work. I mean, the doctors involved would literally make their entire career off of one lady with a potentially endless pregnancy. Let's think about this realistically. Can I hear a cha-ching? A doctor denying this condition, frankly, would be completely stupid. Most doctors aren't stupid. They could be a little biased, arrogant maybe, possibly skeptical, but most doctors aren't stupid. This ignorant writer in her ignorant book spew the following, and I quote, "But the theory is that a woman going through a cryptic pregnancy, i.e., a woman who feels she is pregnant despite negative pregnancy tests, can be freed from the assumption that she is having a delusional pregnancy by simply using the finger pulse and Doppler test. If she's truly pregnant, as no woman alive in this world has ever been found to have two separate heartbeats inside of her body unless she is pregnant." End quote. This writer writes this in her book without understanding the basic functions and design of a fetal Doppler. It's just completely stupid. So she also doesn't take into account user error with interpretation of sounds heard while using a fetal Doppler. Despite all those important points, what if the reader is sure that they are pregnant and they aren't able to find a fetal heartbeat, but they are still very, very sure that they're actually pregnant despite not finding a fetal heartbeat using a fetal Doppler? Is this now a false pregnancy to the writer? Who knows, because she doesn't seem to have a grip on reality, so I really don't know what she would say or make up in this situation. But this ignored point this is a very ignored point, and a very important point, might I add, that the writer has no answers, and the reader has no answers, and so therefore they have no process for how to distinguish delusion from reality. This writer doesn't really give the reader very much to really grasp onto when it comes to, like, well, maybe I am not really experiencing a cryptic pregnancy. That's never once discussed on what to do if you're not experiencing a cryptic pregnancy. This, combined with the fact that the writer outwardly advises the reader that a doctor will be of no help in their situation and they shouldn't even bother in getting or listening to a medical professional's advice. This book is a recipe for disaster and screaming a huge, huge lawsuit. The writer hilariously but unfortunately goes to put her foot in her mouth with this ignorant statement, and I quote, "Very early reoccurring miscarriages and chemical pregnancies are a new thing, and something I never ever heard about 20 years ago when I was pregnant with my first child." End quote. This is seriously the stupidest thing I've ever read. Miscarriages are a new thing? It's hard to believe an adult wrote this. I seriously cannot. I mean, the ridiculous ignorance behind this statement is flabbergasting. How does this person keep themselves alive? She thinks because she is ignorant and wasn't aware of something 20 years ago and apparently still isn't aware of it, that it doesn't exist. This is so hilarious to me. I cannot even, this is so, because I'm accused of all the time, "What do you know, Cristal? You've never experienced a cryptic pregnancy, so you have no idea what you're talking about." Like, for this woman to say that because she's never experienced something or she didn't know about something means it didn't exist. It's just perfection that she would write. I mean, she's putting her foot in her mouth. It's so dumb. And she calls me atrocious names, and says I'm stupid in comments. Seriously? For not knowing about a condition that doesn't exist. I mean, because she made it up. She's saying that I'm not, well, you don't talk about the finger Doppler test. Well, that doesn't prove pregnancy. And it's a made up condition. How would I know about a made up condition? Calls doctors stupid. She calls doctors stupid for not acknowledging a different kind of pregnancy that she made up for attention and admiration. It's so hilarious, and it's gold. It's just gold. What's definitely not funny, and we're gonna flip, directions here, is early miscarriages are not funny, and miscarriages alone are not funny. And they are not a new thing either. Chemical pregnancies are not a new thing. Early miscarriages are not a new thing. I've personally listened to mothers, grandmothers, great-great-grandmothers who have shared their very personal and sad stories of early miscarriage, late miscarriage, stillbirth, and infant loss. Unfortunately, this is something that mothers experience. This includes reoccurring miscarriages that have occurred 3 to 6 times a year or more due to being exposed to toxic chemicals or new drugs, such as DES. I don't want to pronounce the name, but it's a drug that women took and it made them, their mothers took it and it made the babies barren, infertile. Queens throughout history have been documented to have reoccurring miscarriages and early pregnancy loss. Early pregnancy loss is not a new thing. It's an unfortunate reality for some women and their children. It sucks, but it is real. It seriously benefits no one to make up the loss of a child through miscarriage to cover up or hide another condition. To write this in a book just shows the level of intelligence the writer possesses, which isn't much. Writing this is the writer's way of preying on those who are vulnerable after losing a child, in mourning and grieving, and or wanting to somehow become pregnant with the reincarnated spirit of the child or baby that they have lost, or still be pregnant with the said child because that they lost because they never lost them. They were just pregnant for years and years and years with this cryptic pregnancy, as this book implies. Highlight the word lies. This book lies. It tells big, huge lies. What if the woman has negative urine tests, negative blood tests, negative ultrasound, and can't find a fetal heartbeat with a Doppler while she takes her own pulse with a finger pulse oximeter, but she is still sure she is 100% pregnant? What does this then mean? Does this mean she is pregnant because she feels pregnant? To the reader, there is no option that allows the admittance of being wrong and realizing that they aren't actually pregnant. Nope, not in this evil book. Not one time is it mentioned that if the reader cannot find a fetal heartbeat with a fetal Doppler using a fetal pulse oximeter, that they possibly could be not pregnant and that they should figure it out from there. But nope, not once in this book is that option or ever mentioned as a possibility. According to the writer, if the reader feels pregnant, they are. And that's it. End of story. The writer says in her book, and I quote, "Because doctors knew then, as they should know now, the golden rule of cryptic pregnancy is that no human being alive has two separate heartbeats inside of one body." End quote. The writer conveniently and maliciously leaves out very important facts about how a fetal Doppler works. So let's go over this now for everyone watching, including the writer, because I know she's watching. A Doppler is not designed to only pick up and hear a fetal heartbeat. Because of this reason, a Doppler being put on a non-pregnant woman will most certainly pick up a heartbeat. The woman's heartbeat. If you see a fetal Doppler if you use a fetal Doppler incorrectly, you might mistake your body's noises for your baby's heartbeat. This can easily happen. Meaning if you aren't trained in deciphering the different sounds heard naturally within the mother's body and sounds that occur due to pregnancy itself, such as a fetal heartbeat, placenta, and fetal sounds, the fetal Doppler is designed to count any sound it picks up, which we'll read on the screen, as a heart rate value. And because a fetal Doppler is programmed for a fetal heartbeat, it will start in the 120s to 130s beats per minute range. This does not actually mean the heartbeat or the noise being heard or the sound being picked up by the machine is even close to beating that quickly. The Doppler is programmed to start at this high value because a normal fetal heartbeat is anywhere from 130 to 160 beats per minute. A healthy fetal heartbeat sounds like a galloping horse. It should be fast, strong, and fluctuate. A fetal Doppler will amplify any noise it finds. This includes a fetal heartbeat, a mother's heartbeat, arterial sounds of mother, digestive sounds of mother, air or gas in stomach and intestines of the mother, the noise of the placenta, the mother's breathing, fetal blood flow, and baby movement. So finding what's interpreted as a fetal heartbeat could very well be the mother's heartbeat, even if the woman is wearing a finger pulse oximeter, because the fetal Doppler is programmed to start within that 130 to 160 beats per minute, even if what is being heard isn't actually beating that quickly. If an educated person uses or plays with a fetal Doppler, as I have in my past videos, it's evident that the number on the fetal Doppler will begin to drop and actually count the mother's heartbeat no matter where it's placed. I've put it on my inner arm and I've got a heartbeat on my neck, got a heartbeat on my foot, got a heartbeat. I've put a fetal Doppler on my two sons, easily found a heartbeat. It starts at the 130s on the screen and then slowly starts to read 115 beats per minute, 110 beats per minute, 98 beats per minute, 88 beats per minute, and then it will shoot back up to the 130s, searching for that faster heart rate, and it'll keep doing this over and over and over again. And it'll slowly go down 115, 110, 98, 88, and then shoot back up to 130 to try to search for that fetal heart rate. A fetal Doppler amplifies every and all sound, and it is not advanced technology that only detects and reflects a fetal heartbeat. Using a finger pulse oximeter with a fetal Doppler and finding what you think is a fetal heartbeat with the Doppler compared to your heartbeat with an oximeter does not in any way prove pregnancy. An ultrasound is the most accurate and reliable way of confirming a viable pregnancy within the uterus. So this writer hilariously writes, and I quote, "If you're suffering or have had trauma, you are a true being. If your life is easy and things just seem to fall into place for you, then you probably have no divine energy or life force worth draining." End quote. This is meant to manipulate the reader. Who hasn't had trauma? I mean, seriously. Every human on earth has had some sort of trauma. If a woman has experienced an early pregnancy loss, a miscarriage, a stillbirth, an ectopic pregnancy, a molar pregnancy, or a chemical pregnancy, this can all be considered trauma, and it is very traumatic. Both physically and emotionally, it's traumatic. This trauma, the writer schemes, makes them a true being. So she writes in her book that experiencing trauma makes you a true being. And also, remember, the writer theorizes that miscarriage and early pregnancy loss is just a cryptic pregnancy. Not a loss at all, but a baby in hiding for an indefinite amount of time until the woman does intense energy work to increase their life force, whatever that means. So now the reader has experienced two requirements for a cryptic pregnancy. In their mind, they have to be experiencing this because that's the way this writer unfortunately and dangerously presents it. The writer never says in detail what is needed or required to do this intense energy work, this intense energy life force work in order to turn the cryptic pregnancy normal. This garbage book is pure manipulation and not at its finest because it's not written well at all and has huge holes in its theology and biased research. This is the only positive about this book, is that it's so poorly written and hard to follow that hopefully most readers will either lose interest, which, I mean, or not really understand what the writer is actually saying, which will only benefit the reader in saving them from such abusive and ignorant information if they're not fully grasping what the writer is even trying to say, because it is really hard to understand what the writer means in this book. Hopefully they'll just, I'm hoping they don't come up with their own theories and continue to research, because this book doesn't really give answers. It just gives you more questions. So hopefully they will continue to go online and research, and they'll come across this video and videos and they'll watch them, and then things will click and they'll start to realize, oh, maybe I'm not actually pregnant and haven't been pregnant for these 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 years. And that's okay. And I can get over it and I can accept that and I can move on with my life and be healthy, and get rid of my symptoms is essentially what you would hope for any of these women who believe that they're pregnant for years, is that they will eventually, hopefully, start to heal their body so that they don't have to experience these awful symptoms constantly. I cannot imagine that that is fun, with, the symptoms that I experienced for the short amount of time that I experienced my phantom pregnancy for 5 months. That was long enough. And so now if I experience any kind of adverse symptoms, the first thing I do is go back to what the information that I found right after my phantom pregnancy was detoxing and nutrient deficiencies, and making sure that I'm eating and taking care of myself the way I should be so that I don't have to live with symptoms. So anyways, the writer poses her theories as fact in her warped book. She states, and I quote, cryptic pregnancy babies will literally stop growing if you lose too much vital life force, and will only start growing again once you have stopped accumulating so much negative energy. Fact, period, end quote. This is not a fact. To the writer, this is not a fact. This is an ignorant assumption made through the writer's biased research. How the writer describes a person losing life force is pure speculation. It's her opinion, and it's far from a fact. And it's awful that she wrote this in this book, because that's not why a baby would stop growing if you lose vital life force. What does that even mean? If you accumulate too much negative energy? This is seriously so manipulative and disgusting, really. A baby cannot start growing and then stop growing and then start regrowing and then stop regrowing and then restart its growing and then stop its growing again, and do this, constantly for years and years and years, or until, if a baby in utero stops development, the inevitable result is eventual death. So there's no such thing as like a woman being pregnant for 9 years and that baby sustaining life within that time period. Development can grow in utero, but it cannot, development can slow. Like, it can slow down the development of a baby, or of an embryo, or of a fetus, can slow down in utero, but it cannot stop completely, because doing so would result in death. This has been observed in medicine. This is exactly why a miscarriage happens. Our genetic program as humans is set for an elegant and complete and finely orchestrated development from zygote to a functional adult body. Any complication in this process, such as slowed growth or no growth, as the writer hypothesizes, results in either genetic disorders, birth defects, and or chromosome abnormalities. It does not and has not ever resulted in a DNA mutated super evolved human child capable of miracles. Doctors have found that, things as simple as illness and infection in the mother can have a profound impact on the development of the fetus's brain. This can result in lowered neurological and psychomotor skills like motor function, language, social adaptation, and cognitive function. Any interruption in the uniquely and delicately orchestrated development of a zygote to embryo, to fetus, to newborn, and the outcome could affect the child for the rest of their lives. Slowed development is not something anyone should want for their baby or pregnancy. Slow development or no growth should not be glamorized as special and then somehow better, when in fact this condition is dangerous, scary, and almost always results in complications and sometimes death for the unborn baby or babies. I've never heard of slow development or taking longer to grow than usual resulting in a better or more evolved species or specimen, because it has never been observed or studied all around the world for centuries that something taking longer than usual means it is developmentally challenged, which can result in birth defects. But a human zygote, embryo, or fetus cannot stop growing completely and then somehow still sustain life without any negative side effects, and then spontaneously restart growing again all on its own. and then do this several more times for years upon years upon years upon years until it is born completely typical without any health or mental complications. Slower growth of a fetus does not and has never, ever in all of history resulted in a DNA mutated, super evolved human child capable of miracles. Get it? I'm not saying the women personally involved in pregnancy of years or the idea that they could be pregnant for years are exclusively delusional. What I'm saying is it is delusional to continuously believe you are pregnant and were pregnant for years and years and years and years without birth. You haven't birthed a baby and you don't have positive ultrasound scan results. I mean, it is delusional to continuously tell someone like a reader or somebody in a cryptic pregnancy support group that they are pregnant and will be for years and years and will continue to be pregnant until they do vaguely increase their energy work or increase their life force, or what else is out there? Some women say that they have to do like the inner work, or they have to, there's so many different ways that they've presented it now. They have to do this work. All of it is eventually work so that they can eventually turn their pregnancy normal. Some of them suggest taking herbs to turn their pregnancy normal, which I completely am against. So they can eventually birth a baby that has never been seen on ultrasound. It is a delusion to tell anyone that they will consistently test negative for HCG until they do vague, intense spiritual work to turn their baby into a reality. This in itself is a delusion. It is delusional and pure manipulation to tell women and their partners this dangerous and cruel lie. And so I'm not saying that this writer or that the people involved in these communities themselves are delusional in their personal lives, but it is delusional behavior to go online and tell other women online that they are pregnant too because they're experiencing the same symptoms you're experiencing. That's like saying, hey, you have cancer too because you're experiencing the same symptoms I'm experiencing and doctor said that I had cancer. Or, hey, it's delusional behavior to take part in these things. So it's something that these women need to pull themselves out of this toxic behavior. The women involved in these cryptic pregnancy groups, it's up to them to decide that they don't want to take part in this anymore. And my opinion is the writer of this disgusting book wants the reader at the very least to believe in cryptic pregnancy as a real medically ignored condition, and at the very most believe themselves are too experiencing a cryptic pregnancy for various reasons that exclude very little situations. Like she says, trauma is universal experience, and the number one reason the writer theorizes women experience a cryptic pregnancy. And it's so gross and ignorant to write this in your book that this is the reason why you're experiencing a cryptic pregnancy is this universal experience. It's not unique. There's nothing special about that. It's just gross. I truly hope this writer moves on and just leaves all of this alone. I really truly hope that she just drops cryptic pregnancy altogether. She really has done a good job of hiding. She's decided to close most of her groups. She's decided to hide her TikTok. I don't know about her groups because I'm obviously not in them and I don't want to be in them. But like I said, her articles on Motherhood Diaries have been taken down, so that's a win. The TikTok that she exclusively talks about cryptic pregnancy has been removed. I don't know if she just blocked me or whatever, but and her personal account has been taken down. It's been hidden, so I don't know. But what I do know is that she's trying very, very hard to shut me up in the United Kingdom. And so that really raises some red flags for me, because if what you're saying is the truth, why wouldn't you want the people in your real life to know about it? Why are you trying to keep it a secret? I'm not saying anything in these videos that aren't actually true. She wrote out in a book her theories and thoughts on cryptic pregnancy and how it all develops and all of these things. And I'm here telling her that all of that's incorrect. And she doesn't like it. She's ashamed of it. So, I mean, that's the only reason why you'd want to block those videos. I mean, because if what you're saying is the truth and I'm telling you, saying that you're stupid, and if the truth is the truth, it doesn't matter what I call you. The truth is the truth, and you're like, whatever, the truth will come out. But instead she just goes and hides because she knows it's not the truth, and then she's embarrassed. So I asked the viewer of this video right now, would you be okay with someone being raped because someone is willing to pay for a cryptic pregnancy because you told them a cryptic pregnancy of years is possible? I know I'm not okay with it, and the writer of this book shouldn't be okay with it either. The writer of this book should be ashamed that she supports the dangerous practice of human trafficking and baby farms, and she does this and supports this with her self-published garbage book. I mean, this writer she has a lot to be ashamed of because she made some very empty threats in my comments, but some people just don't know any better. So to the writer, I really hope that you find a better hobby, and I hope you do better. And thank you to anybody who watched this video. I'm so glad you watched it. I'm so glad you clicked on this video. And I hope you share it. Please like, please subscribe if you consider it if you want. And so that's it. I'm going to sign off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Stay blessed, friends. Bye.